Hey guys, thanks for joining so early. Thank you, Joey, for taking the time to be with us here today. It's an exciting space. It's been a few weeks full of exciting events and developments in the Hedera ecosystem, and we're very happy to be involved in some of the latest best launches when it comes to innovation on top of Hedera. So we're joined today by HLiquity. Would love to have an intro from the speaker. As you know, HLiquity is a DeFi solution developed by Swisscoast, and we're going to find out a bit more about everything that has to do HLiquity, but maybe we have the time to dive into Swisscoast and the team, the seasoned team over there. How are you doing today? And is it Tony behind the mic?
Yes, I'm here. It's Tony speaking. Yes.
Thank you for joining us, Tony. Exciting news and developments that you've been putting out. I'd like to start the spaces as more people join and ask you for a quick intro, if possible, so that the audience can get to know you a bit better.
Yeah, so I start with a bit of biography while people are joining. So I jumped into the rabbit hole very early. I was mining Bitcoin on Xboxes in 2014 or 15. It wasn't, the big problem was not the mining of Bitcoin, but it was the hacking of the Xbox. Physically hack and solder the Xbox, put a Linux on, and then mining. That was really the big challenge, and we did that because there was no ASICs out back then. And me and my friend, who's a cryptographer, it was just curiosity that drove us. So we were always in and out, just trying to understand the concept and the tech stuff mainly, so on code level. I also met Vitalik Buterin quite early, so was in the ecosystem of the EVM, and then I thought, well, the very first use case for blockchain is cryptocurrencies, and I thought, let's do a Swiss franc. And so in 2018, I built the first private digital Swiss franc with this company, with Swisscoast, who is a company who's already 20 years old, and we had a very good legal team. We still have a very good legal team, where we could argue why this is actually possible. It was a very a daring project back then. Nobody dared to call a digital currency Swiss franc. We called it private digital Swiss franc to make sure there is no abuse of power or misdirection. It's clearly a private a digital currency, but, and that's the misconception for many people, if you have money on your bank, that's also private money. So if I pay my brother for half of the dinner and do that with money on my whatever banking app that I have, that's private bank. That's not private money. It's not legal tender. So basically, that's my biography. And then we entered, me and Roman, who was also in the team, we entered in the Hedera ecosystem, very attracted by the enterprise approach. We always thought we need this disruptive technology to enter the world through adoption of big corporations. We thought, I also made the first smart contract for the United Nations back in 2017. Was a bit frustrated by the slow adoption, and then when I saw Hedera and the enterprise grade approach, we thought, okay, that can help accelerate what we want to build. We made a very big study last year on how a Swiss currency should look like on Hedera, and based on the input we had from the study, we started building the Swiss franc on Hedera.
Wow, that's some very deep information there, I would say. So you mentioned that you worked with the United Nations. Would you like to tell us a bit more about that experience?
So basically, again, this was something that we back then we said, also one of the first use cases clearly is cross-border payment. If you're a global organization transacting money on a daily basis in so many countries, clearly a big percentage goes away for transactions fee, and so we thought we should bring this to global organizations, and So I made the first smart contract for them, and back then it was for UNICEF. So we said, okay, how could we do something to show this actually brings added value. And clearly, back then to 16, 17, it was, people just heard crypto, they thought, dodgy stuff, they thought, so there was hardly any regulation around. So it took a big negotiation and convincing piece of work to convince, the stakeholders in the organization says, yes, we do it, and we even publicly announce it. And at the end, it's always people's business. You have to have people within an organization who are ready to take a risk and say, yes, I'm doing this, I'm trying new stuff. Because what typically happens, and that was atypical, but normally in an organization, people rather do nothing than taking a risk. Because if they take a risk, they take a software provider that is not the normal one, then they endanger their career. Because if the project goes wrong and they took a software that is not known, it's their fault. So there is very big reluctance in big and global organizations to adopt new technology, and we were very happy to have the head of innovation back then in UNICEF who said, yeah, we take this risk, we want to do that, and that's how we managed to have them on board. And then we built a foundation, Roman and I, where we bring the DLT also with Hedera to protect Hedera globally. And again, it's global organization, and DLT really brings added value in this setup.
That's a very interesting point that you make there, Tony, because obviously innovation comes generally from the bottom up, and startups are obviously more prone to taking risk and disrupting different industry, different tech verticals. And I think maybe that's one of the untold things when it comes to projects that are building on Hedera, because it's likely that the technology that they are building might be one that strikes close to home with a lot of council members. What's your take on that?
I absolutely agree. I think this is a very important point. So if you bring this added value, it might endanger certain business model. But I think that's exactly where it starts to be interesting if you are a startup. And I was talking in a money conference. I was explaining, what we're doing, and I was talking to a credit card guy. So basically, he produces physical credit cards, and I said, well, you'll be out of business in mobile phones, even if it's not blockchain. They will replace your thing. And he said, yeah, we don't worry. If we invested in 3 or 4 startups, one of them will make the race. So I think this will be a similar situation in Hedera ecosystem, where they build up this ecosystem now. And if you look in public information of company registry of who is in our company registry, you can look that up. It's official information. You find interesting people in there that you might find in other companies as well that are close to the Hedera ecosystem. So I agree with you. It might strike close to home, but if you anticipate this change as stakeholders from Hedera ecosystem or as the Hedera ecosystem, you're preparing for it by investing in these companies.
Yeah, I'm totally with you there, Tony.
Is that something that you observe also in other startups where you see, big stakeholders that might be endangered through this technology invest in it to be ready? Can you observe that? Do you have even names so that we have some insight and can also look into other projects?
The only thing that I can say really is that there's a lot of interest from telco operators. We've seen with a few projects that we were working with. So telcos are interested, but obviously when it comes to the adoption of different solutions that are bleeding edge, it might be quite a steep adoption curve. So it doesn't move typically. They don't, as you mentioned, corporations and the big telcos in this example would be pretty slow to adopt solutions that we all think is the next iteration. But I want to, you mentioned, Tony, about Swisscoast and its affinity towards the Hedera ecosystem. And I know that you are not that HLiquity is not the only project that you are incubating. Do you want to touch upon some of the different projects that you are involved with?
Yeah. I mean, when we started HLiquity, clearly, we needed oracles. There was no oracle there, so what we did is we forked the public permissionless oracle that exists and built that on HLiquity on Hedera. So we have the repository, everything is ready to go. But since then, Pith and Supra appeared, so we integrated them because they were already audited. So what we have in the pipeline and which is ready to roll out is a public permissionless Oracle system. So I think that doesn't exist yet on the Hedera ecosystem. So that's a product that is sitting in our repository, ready to roll out after this. I think the concept of public permissionless repositories can be in public permissionless oracles can be interesting in setups where you have data that are not coming from streams, that can be single set data or event based data, that can be sports or voting, like on results of votes. So we have a lot of votes in Switzerland. Obviously, we vote like 3-4 times a year. So I think public permissionless approach can be very interesting, and that doesn't exist yet. So it's in our pipeline, it's ready to roll, and we have something up our sleeve where we said it's not good to tell. So there is one more thing that we have ready, but this is clearly, the other one is clearly far away. So we want to get the HLiquity up and running, have some good traction there. That's our first and foremost priority, and that's what we focus on currently. And also in association with this thought, build the Swiss franc, is like, where can we bring adoption for the Swiss franc? So we're negotiating with my son's company, who's a Web3 gaming company, to bring that Swiss franc into their Web3 game, so that we have retail adoption for the Swiss francs. And we also try to talk to other companies to use the Swiss franc that will be created by the HLiquity protocol. So there's two things. One is products, HLiquity, and then the public permissionless oracle, and then the adoption of the products, which is also a lot of work and convincing and negotiation to companies or projects. So if you're a project and you're listening, and if you think a Swiss franc could be beneficial to either your project or someone or in your ecosystem, get in touch with us, and I'm sure we'll find good ways for spreading this currency.
I want to dive deeply into the use case around the Swiss franc, the digital Swiss franc, because it's a very interesting use case and niche that can become a gateway drug in many aspects. But I don't want to keep Joey waiting for that long. So, Joey, would you mind, since we had a background story from Tony, do you mind giving us a quick intro about yourself and how you came to be HBARJOE?
Yeah. How's everybody doing? That's pretty cool. Thanks for. I'm still learning a lot about Swisscoast, but I really like that intro, and I can't wait to hear more. But I've been around. I was actually, Tudor, I was actually looking the other day, and I think I bought my first HBAR on Binance 3 years ago. This month, maybe that's right. So time flies. My first dive into Web3 and cryptocurrency was an NFT. I think right after Beeple sold something for an insane amount. I was like, oh, let's go see if I can trade some NFTs. I went on Nifty Gateway, bought an NFT for $300, sold it for $3,000 3 days later, and I was hooked. And so I went to my buddy who's an attorney in town here, and I said, "You're into cryptocurrency other than Bitcoin and Ethereum. What should I get? He gave me a list of about 5. Hedera, HBAR being one of the ones he called a long shot, but he thought I'd like it because of who was involved and what it was all about. So I started watching videos and did some research and slowly drifted away from other chains and currencies into HBAR. But I did still have quite a bit in some of the metaverses. And as they started rolling out, I started seeing how just terrible they were. They were expensive for land, they were useless for gaming, and I walked into Decentralized on my computer and couldn't walk around, and my avatar wasn't functioning right, so I closed it. I called my friends that were also in and said, hey, we're all in profit mode, sell it. So we all sold it. So I just moved exclusively to Hedera, and it wasn't 2 or 3 weeks later, the white paper for Earthlings came out, and I had been an advisor for another project and talking to people and helping some other projects, but nothing serious. And Patrick had seen me in Discord talking to the community, and he sent me a message and said, hey, will you do a video call with me? I have some questions for you. I want to see what your thoughts about the white paper are, what your thoughts about the project are. And I said, sure. So one thing led to another, and started talking to him more and helping him with some ideas on the business side of Earthlings. And a year and a half later, almost pushing 2 years, here we are today. So that led me to the position of, I guess, tokenomics and operations, growth strategy, those things. So what I try to do is make things fun for the community, whether it's our NFTs or the INO, the IDO, what we're going to do while we're waiting on Patrick and his team and Marcel to get the game built. There's time there, and they started with the mobile game, which just got an update on iOS today in the really small batch testing, and it's pretty sweet. I just got to start testing it on the iPhone last week and had a couple of glitches, and it's had 2 updates since. So probably in the next 45 minutes, I'll be back on playing. I'm not very good at it, but it's fun, and it's just the first iteration of what's to come. But so that talks about, okay, we have a token launching very soon. People are buying into the INO. They're getting cool NFTs, but what are we going to do while the rest of the game's built? So today I kind of put an announcement out to let people know what those early Earthlings cards might be for, along with the founders cards and land holders, what they're going to be able to do with the Steam token between now and full game launch. We're going to have some activities through the mobile game where you can win water, and we're trying to get it the wallet set up so that we can play by Apple's rules and still provide Steam. If not, we'll have to find another way, but that's kind of an update on that. That's not really up to us. We have to follow their rules to keep the mobile game alive. So we're working on a way to make that happen. But in the meantime, we had an INO yesterday for 1,000 early Earthlings cards. I think I messaged you 1 week ago yesterday, Tudor, and said, hey, guess what? We've got a lot of feedback. We want to have another INO round. And I think the entire Headstarter team was like, Joe's kidding, right? Just don't talk to him. But we went ahead, and I said, well, we had a lot of feedback. People wanted to participate in an INO and our first INO didn't make it to public. So I thought, okay, let's do the early Earthlings cards. It was in the original white paper. We weren't at a position to ever offer it. The community was still small then, and we didn't have a lot that we could provide with it. But as we've grown and we have more needs to put out higher amounts of utility NFTs in the future, it was a good time to launch the early Earthlings card. So I said, let's do 1,000 of them. Surely that'll last for 10 or 12 hours, so people can take their time and get their hands on them. And 15 minutes after the launch of the mint, it was sold out. So, but we did get several hundred different people involved. So it wasn't just a few getting those, and some are getting spread out on Syntax now. So we're happy about that. I put a message out in Discord today. If you're in our Discord, go check it out. It's kind of a hint at what we're going to do with the Earthlings banks and how to get involved, and what we'll do for Steam holders, whether you own 0 NFTs or one of all of the NFTs, what we're going to do with the banking system. And that should be finalized not long after the IDO. There's a lot of work to do, and Jorge has to program it, but we're going to get that rolling as quickly as we can. I won't dive into it here because there's a lot of information about it.
Thanks a lot for that.
If I might jump in, I was very keen to hear you about the Apple and playing by the Apple rules. So what is your vision there? Do you think that there will be a change in policy at a certain point, or because of course we're also thinking of applications and where could the Swiss franc be used, and Apple clearly being a bit of a headache at certain points. Is there things that you see coming, or I'm sure you dug a bit deeper than us already?
I do. So everybody here knows, whether it's our game or another Web3 game, you can have a Web3 game on iOS, Apple App Store, and in that game you can sell NFTs, and you can have access to look into your wallet in the game. What you can't do is have a wallet connected that only that player can use the NFTs in the game. Meaning, if you have one of our freeze watches, we can't exclude regular Web2 players from having a freeze watch in the game just because they don't have one in their Hedera wallet. So what we're having to do is set it up so that we can look into your wallet, see your freeze watch, or if you're playing Web2 outside of your wallet, you can use your rewards that aren't on chain, like water or whatever, or play enough to win a Steam Watch. So I think they'll change it eventually, but what they're trying to do is keep the play and earn, not play to earn out of it. They don't want people farming tokens in the App Store games. They want people playing the games. So that's what we're working with right now.
That's a very interesting point you mentioned there when it comes to the Earthlings game, because one thing that I had said in multiple spaces, what makes unique a project such as yours that's building such a complex metaverse GameFi solution is that you have gradual releases of different games that are standalone as you go into the building of the full metaverse solution and experience. And I think it's so important that Earthlings has such a great footprint in the Hedera ecosystem. It's community led, very organic, like a lot of the projects in the Hedera space, such as Hashpack, Saucer Swap, the big name ones that have built a community from the beginning as DeFi started to become possible on top of Hedera. And it's so very exciting to see this whole ecosystem being built up from the ground up. I wanted to segue towards the token side of the equation, because Joey, you alluded to what the Water digital currency and the Steam cryptocurrency token, and I wanted to ask you a bit more. What's the dynamic there, and maybe how do we explore? Because I know that you have thought about it before. How do you explore the integration of such tokens, and should you consider integration of a Swiss stablecoin, Swiss franc stablecoin?
That's definitely a possibility. Patrick and Marcel are adding to the UI of the first mobile game right now, Steam Runner. So right now you can play, the small batch testers are playing and they're earning points, but obviously with Hedera we'll have scoreboards and we'll be able to look at those on chain. But the primary focus with the mobile games is to get kids, parents, Web2 gamers, people that don't care or think that they'll ever care about crypto or Web3 playing. So that's why the water token. If anybody here has a grocery card or hotel points or a credit card that earns points, think of those points as how water will work. And if you're a gamer, and if you played Roblox, think of Robux. Water will work like that. You know how much they cost. You know you need them to buy skins or items in the game, and that's what water will be. We'll probably spend as much money marketing for the first year the Web 2 aspect of Earthlings, and talking about water and giving water away to people and showing off the game, not as look at this cool Web3 game where you can own and sell everything and buy land on secondary marketplaces and earn steam and watch it change value 22 times a day when you get hooked on it. We want the Web2 people, and we had a call with some people from Hedera yesterday, and they were happy that we didn't say, oh, we're going to say everything's Hedera. We are going to say we have this great game that you can play and have fun and earn this water token. And if you want to take that water token and buy in-game items, we'll tell you how to sell those for actual money instead of selling them on some market or to some stranger you don't trust. And that's where people will learn about the Web3. So yeah, stable coins, Steam, water, it's all going to have to be in there and usable and easy to understand. And it doesn't matter what chain we're built on. They just want to know that it's fast, safe, and inexpensive to operate.
Thank you very much for the context there, and I wanted to circle back to Tony in relation to the Swiss franc stablecoin that they are proposing as an innovation in the Hedera ecosystem and globally, as far as I know, that comes along with the HLiquity protocol. So, Tony, would you like telling us, firstly, why Swiss franc? I mean, I know that you're based in Switzerland. Why the Swiss franc? A lot of the other DeFi protocols are focused on USD stablecoins.
Yes, that's a very, very good question. So today I was coaching startups in the finance university in St. Gallen in Switzerland, And a lot of those startups, they came from Southern America, and they say, "What is it? Okay, there is Swiss franc currency on chain, and we want that." So I think it basically, the Swiss currency still has, this halo of, okay, it's stable, it's a kind of reserve currency. If there's uncertainty, people buy the Swiss franc. There's political stability, clearly. We don't exactly know, so we have ideas on why the Swiss franc is important globally. But I think it's got personally, I think it's got a lot of to do also with marketing and this stability that we had, and we were lucky, to stay out of horse for so long. But on the other hand, if you look at the figures, 5% of foreign exchange trading is in Swiss franc, and that's clearly an old world. It's the biggest markets, I think 17 trillion or something per day, and 5% of that is happening in Swiss franc. So for the size of our country, it's a very relevant currency, and on chain, the Swiss franc is absolutely underrepresented, and that's something that we also think is important for the adoption within Switzerland. If you touch the Swiss currency, it's a holy cow, and people think like, why do you, the conception is like, okay, you print your own money, but basically and you don't even have a banking license, and basically we said, no, we don't do that. We create software. So we create software, and this software can do something like give you something that has the value of a Swiss franc against the collateral. And why the Swiss franc? And so to people in the world, it's like the Swiss franc is a stable currency, but to people at home, we say, we have to make sure that the Swiss franc doesn't lose traction in the new technologies. If you look at Forex, 5%, if you look at next generation of transactional infrastructure, we are below 0.001% with Swiss franc representation on chain. So if we speak within Switzerland, we say, look, it's a problem of digitalization. We have to make sure we stay up to date, and the values that we created in the old world, we transport them into the new world. So to answer your question, we have two messages: one to the people abroad, and tell them, look, if you think the Swiss currency is something interesting and you want it on chain, there is some software that can do that for you. And if we speak within Switzerland, it's like we have to make sure we keep up with new technologies when it comes to new transactional infrastructure.
That's very important what you mentioned there when it comes to making sure you maintain the relevancy of the stablecoin when it comes to the overall innovation worldwide in tech. I was just having a look quickly at the world reserve currency, and the Swiss franc is up there close to the pound sterling and euros, and then the Chinese yuan
currency.
So there's two names to it, yeah. There's quite a lot of room there for adoption, and there's a lending protocol on Hedera, and one of the leading ones. There's quite an important opportunity to leave a mark, no pun intended. But do you have? Could you tell us a bit more about the dynamic of how the Swiss franc will be minted, burned in the HLiquity protocol?
Okay, so yes, I can. So the software that we create allows you to create troves. Basically, you bring HBAR, and you bring HBAR with a certain value. So let's say you bring HBAR worth 110 Swiss francs. For that, you create 100 Swiss francs, and you lock up these HBARs worth 110 Swiss francs. You lock them up in a trove. It's a locker, and you have something that has the value of a Swiss franc. So this is the very simple answer. Now, why do you want to do that? There's various reasons for it. Maybe with this Swiss franc, you buy more HBAR, and you open more troves, and you buy more Swiss francs. So that's a scenario that you can do. Basically, then you have something where you participate in HBAR price raising. But there's also another scenario where HBAR, the price sinks. So the Swiss franc that we're creating is always over collateralized. How can we do that? If the trove sinks, the 110 francs that I brought in HBAR, I can close the trove, bring my Swiss franc back, and get my HBAR. So I didn't lose anything, nothing happened. If it falls below 105%, anybody can close this trove. So Reto, who's here in the call, who's also with us in the team, he can come and say, okay, I close that. I bring I bring the Swiss franc, and I get 105 worth HBAR back. So he can make profit. So it's gamified. The collateralization is gamified. So we can make sure it's always over collateralized at least 105%. Now, what you also can do is you can put, maybe Reta doesn't want to be always watching the price and doing that. So there is also a pool where you can put your Swiss franc that always goes and looks for troves that can be closed. And this pool creates revenue. And so that's why there is this HLiquity token, where if you put your Swiss franc in this pool, you receive HLiquity, and the revenues generated are distributed amongst the holders of HLiquity. And in order to foster early adoption, this HLiquity will be distributed exponentially. So the early adopters will get a lot of HLiquity, the late adopters little. And the last time, it's a bit like in Bitcoin, the halving, it's at a certain time you get always less and less and less. And last time there was this interesting thought about asymmetrical opportunities, and I think this is really interesting because in Hedera you have this enterprise grade.
Can you hear me? Did I disconnect, or is it Tony? He dropped.
I don't know. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're back now. You were gone for a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so the family members are playing online games with a lot of bandwidth, I assume. So sorry. So I don't know if I explained the entire mechanism, but the asymmetrical opportunity I think is important, where you and me as an individual, we can act fast. We decide today and act tomorrow. Companies act in longer time frames. So they take time to make a budget, internal decision making, and they adapt it maybe in a year, maybe in half a year, maybe in 2 years. So this is a big opportunity for individuals or small SMEs to adopt this protocol fast and participate bigger, because the early adopters are rewarded more.
Yeah, that's very interesting that you would mention. I know also in our HLiquity dedicated channel on the Headstarter Discord server, Reto was answering questions regarding yield, and he was giving quite some alpha to some people that can potentially build out some bots that would arbitrage the value of the Swiss franc in permissionless liquidity pools. Is that something that you think that will be as lucrative as the yielding of contributing to liquidity on the HLiquity protocol?
So I'm very hesitant to make predictions. So there's different scenarios, and I think everything is well documented. So I think everybody should try to make his own thoughts about what scenario is profitable and for him or her opportunity, and risk reward appetite. I'm very hesitant to say this is good, you'll get millionaire overnight and all that stuff. I think that the interesting stuff really is that it's an interesting piece of software and that's also a very important point. We didn't invent that. That's a fork of Hliquity that exists on Ethereum, had 5 billions in its best time, never been hacked, and been very profitable there. So we are convinced both the tech and the concepts of how it works are very, very solid. That this is why we also adopted it, and there is a lot of data already available for those people who like data, where you can see and compare with what Hliquity did on Ethereum, and then you can make your scenarios for what you see in adoption within Hedera system. That clearly is not as big as Ethereum yet, but but personally, I'm in Hedera because I think there is a big future because of the brands. They adopt slower, but when they adopt, the train is unstoppable.
As you mentioned earlier, Tony, being in Hedera represents an asymmetric opportunity, and we keep on parading the same expression for over the past 2 years, and it's slowly but surely coming to fruition. Now, when it comes to DeFi in general on Hedera, we're just getting started. The emergence of oracles on chain will unlock a lot of new applications and ways for people to participate in DeFi in Hedera, where you're an arbitrageur, a liquidity provider, or anything in between. Now Hedera will have a lot more tools for you to be able to spend a lot more time on chain. But speaking of on chain, I wanted to quickly run it back to Joey, because you were right, Joey. It was a quick turn for us to make sure that we got the IDO up for the EEC Founders Card. But we also were sad to see the last INO for Earthlings on Headstarter. So wanted to quickly get from you what the community should expect when it comes to the TGE, the token launch, and the upcoming IDOs for the Steem token.
So we'll have, I guess we'll have the IDO finalized hopefully sometime next week. The part of the delay is finalizing where we're officially going to launch it. Obviously, there's going to be a large saucer swap pool, but we're making decisions on other options, and I'm not going to get into all of those. Some people can use a little intuition and kind of figure out what we're thinking about. But that's the delay right now. So as soon as we have that finalized, we'll have the IDO set so that Headstarter can create the contracts and get those deployed. So we're hoping in the next 2 weeks to have the IDO running on some level, finish it out before the end of the month, and have a token running in April. Right now is still the plan and the move forward on that.
It's so exciting to see your token go to market, have TGE. Definitely something that.
Oh, buddy, we're so. As long as the community's been waiting, so have we. We're ready to go.
100%, and we're also excited as an ecosystem to see what new boundaries the Steem token will unlock for Hedera. Because how many, remind me, Joey, how many wallets currently hold PH Steem?
Just shy of 33,000 people hold the bag holder, and I don't even know now. It's 20,000+ that have PH Steem because they had enough HBAR to qualify for it. And then even more than that, with our Steem drops or claim page, there are some people that probably aren't on both ends of that. So it's a lot. We're excited about that.
I think we all are as an ecosystem, because those are some metrics that even top 200 currencies do not hold. So that's very impressive. Kudos to that. obviously, we're coming to the last 10 minutes of the spaces, and I want to throw it out to anybody in the audience if they want to jump up on stage, if they have any questions for Tony from Swisscoast or in regards to the HLiquity protocol, the upcoming events launching on Headstarter ahead of their protocol launch. If you have any questions for Joey in regards to the Earthlings.Land, I know I'm very excited and waiting for the office that Patrick promised for us over at in the Earthlings.Land. But is there any other goodies or alpha, Joey, that you can share with us when it comes to the mini games or some of the things you have in the works? I know that you guys have a lot cooking.
And I don't want to do the typical announcement about announcement, but just some of the talks we've had and conversations we've had outside of the INO and IDO, we're really excited about. We have some campaigns coming up with some off Hedera projects, some places we're going to get a lot more exposure to folks outside of Hedera as our token goes to market. Everybody that's in our Discord, if you're in this call, please just go check out the general section. I put a lot of alpha in there about the banking system and an outline of how it's going to work. So you will be able to use your Steam, put your Steam to work while we're waiting on the game to launch. Even if you don't, go into our mobile game Steam Runner when it launches. And that's coming really soon. Patrick's ready to release a full beta version as soon as he gets a couple of points worked out. You'll probably be playing it before you can connect your wallet. Unreal Engine has an issue where right now it doesn't do a proper wallet connect to Hedera, and the people at Hedera know that, and the right people are working on it. It just takes time. So that's everything I can say right now.
Thanks for that, Joey. We're so very excited for everything that you guys have planned out. I was just checking right now on CoinGecko. Some of the Swiss Franc stablecoins. Doesn't seem like there's a lot, and the one that has the highest market cap is at $1.7 million. So I guess that's like less than 1.6 million Swiss franc minted. So I'm gonna go on a limb here and already estimate that once HLiquity will be out, their Swiss stablecoin will be the leading one by market cap. But Tony, do you want to tell us a bit more about the plans rolling out HLiquity going ahead and what the community should look out for? But I'll quickly let everybody know that Swisscoast and the HLiquity project will be having an initial INO on Headstarter in the next couple of weeks, and this INO is the first of a couple. Oh, there he is. Tony is back. It's the first INO, and there's one IDO at the end before the TGE. But yeah, Tony, you're back with us.
Sorry, I didn't hear the question. I heard last words from Joy, but then I assume you said answer the question.
Yeah. So quickly, could you tell us a bit more about the plans in the next few weeks as we go into the launch of the HLiquity project?
So Allowlist is open for a private sale since 2 days now. So with Headstarter, I don't know if you know them. So that's that. Then we will be at Token 2049, where you can meet and greet the team. Red and I will be there. We'll have a side event, very small, very fact oriented. So it'll be during the day in offices, not like drinks on the beaches, but really, fact-based meet and greet, talk about it, how things work, that. And during that will be on the 17th, and on the 18th and 19th, there will be a private sale that is open for 48 hours only. And then there will be an allow list for the IDO that will open later, and the IDO sale that will be in Q2. I know the date yet, but I don't see it publicly published. So you'll be updated on that on the roadmap of our HLiquity org. We will have events also in Switzerland. Meet and greet events where we have community meetings, basically of educating people who want to know about digitalization, non-blockchain people who think, what's that? What's collateralized currency? Why should we have that? And why are big brands looking at this? Where we will explain why treasury management can be something interesting for brands. Probably, I assume not the industry leaders will adopt first, but probably the challengers, maybe even SMEs. We are talking to SMEs, so there will be events also in Switzerland during this time before the launch.
That's very exciting. So to sum it up for everybody, outside after the INO that I don't think will be open for 48 hours because it should be selling out a lot faster. You will also be having a meet and greet event during Token 2049 in Dubai. So if there's anybody that is in Dubai for Token 2049 in the next couple of weeks, make sure you reach out to the Swisscoast team or over on our Headstarter Discord or Telegram channels, and we'll make sure we connect you to the team. Is there any way, Tony, that the community can interact with the Swisscoast team? Do you have a social media footprint that they can reach out to?
Yeah, so we are our target group, as we mentioned earlier, is clearly the governing council members. They should adopt the Swiss franc and have that in the treasury. So we are not in Discord, but we are active on Twitter, and we're very active on LinkedIn as well. So Twitter, there's the Swisscoast and the HLiquity profiles on Twitter where you find us. So it's Swisscoast and HLiquity and then the underscore. I'm sure you'll find us, and also on LinkedIn for those people who are in a corporate environment and want to see the corporate communication side of it. A lot of indication there. Not a lot of people understand. They would not understand what we're talking here. But so we have two channels more the blockchain DLT people who understand what we're talking. That's on Twitter, and the other stuff for slower adoption on LinkedIn.
Thank you
and
so
I
much.
think Reto is active in your Telegram channel, right? I'm sure Reto knows that better.
Yes, 100%. It's been great to have him on our Discord answering questions, and I guess we hope he will continue to do so as we ramp up the project launch for HLiquity. We're very excited to see the Swiss franc come to market and be a leader in the Web3 space, and hopefully grow velocity with institutional adoption. We're definitely going to have Tony up on Spaces in the next few weeks for some of our other Ecosystem Spotlight series as we progress towards the project protocol launch. But Joe, wanted to head it out to you. Would you want to leave us with any final thoughts?
Just thanks again for you and your whole team and all the hard work you did, especially pushing through that, as you called it last week, a flash INO sale. And thank you for everybody inside and outside of our community, whether you hold Earthlings, well, all we've gotten is support from everyone, and we really appreciate it. And we look forward to providing so much more for everybody in the times to come.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that, Joey. We're also very excited to see the mini games. I cannot wait to get my hands on it, and obviously the launch of the Steam token in a centralized or decentralized exchange near you. Well, that's that. Thank you very much to our great panelists today, and thank you all for tuning in and listening as we took a deeper dive into HLiquity and Earthlings. We'll be back on Spaces in the next week. We'll probably might have some other projects as well joining us as they ramp towards their events on Headstarter. But we'll be sure to keep you posted on that. And if you are listening and you want to be in the runnings for a hashback NFT campaign, make sure you check our latest tweets and join the competition. Last but not least, take a look into the Headstarter DApp and look into HLiquity and stay tuned for an exciting INO and upcoming IDO towards the main HLiquity protocol launch. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Thanks a lot.